had a friend of mine ask me the other day, Jake, I just got a Switch 2. What are some Switch 1 games I might have missed that would be good for me to play on the Switch 2 while I'm waiting for other games to come out? And obviously, we all already know about the Nintendo first-party games, the Marios, the Zeldas, so I didn't want to give any of those. So I came up with a list for people, whether you have a Switch 1 or a Switch 2, that are some hidden gem type games, and we've got a really nice mix of big AAA style games and also some shorter games that are just really high quality for those people that might not have a ton of time but just want to play some games while they're waiting for the next thing to come out. So if you appreciate that, take the like button, bend it over a barrel, and show it to 50 states by clicking that little thumbs up button. If you're a fan of hack and slash action platformers and you have not picked up Katana Zero yet, you want to go get that little hush puppy right now while you're watching this video because it is outstanding. Even if that is not typically your genre, I would still recommend the game because the full campaign will only last about 5 to 7 hours. So it's the perfect game if you haven't been gaming in a little bit and you need something to kind of draw you back in, or maybe you need a palate cleanser after a long game that you just played. In between very challenging hack and slash levels, the type of game where if you get hit once, you have to start over. You get little pieces of a story that absolutely haunts your dreams. This is like playing through an 80s action movie as a samurai, but with the plot of something like The Matrix, and it makes for such a fantastic experience where you're playing through these very difficult levels where you have the ability to slow down time for those extra tricky portions, but then after each level, you get a little bit more of the story of why you're able to slow down time. You start talking to this weird therapist who seems to drug you at the end of each session. You go home to your apartment and you start seeing people that may or may not be real. And I don't want to say too much about it because really, these little bits of story after each level are such a satisfying reward for the time you spent completing each level. So if you give this game a chance, and I recommend everyone that plays video games give this game a chance, you will have a very special experience, and I'd love to hear what other people think about this game in the comments. Speaking of a special experience, I want to show you the best looking bag and case they make for the Switch 2, which is this bag by TomTalk, which easily holds their incredible and durable hard case that's just as pretty. If you're looking for a case for your Switch 2, it's important to get one that actually does a really good job of protecting your console. But for me, if I'm going to spend that premium money on something that protects my console, I want it to look good as well. And I think you can agree that out of all the Switch 2 cases I've seen, so many of them are so basic. But this TomTalk one looks absolutely gorgeous. It's still simple. It's not like obnoxious and standing out. But there's different colors you can choose from on the website. I just thought this matcha green looked really great. And I think it pairs really well with their gray crossbody bag. Fashion is important to me, and it's so cool that I found this case and bag that fits my aesthetic, looks good, and actually does a great job of protecting my Switch. One of the ways I like to judge a case and how durable it actually is, because a lot of them have a hard shell, but they might have really weak stitching around the zipper. And with TomTalk, it's quality through and through. Even the zipper, you can pull that thing all day. It's not going anywhere. The bag is fantastic. There's even a pouch where you could put your Switch 2 dock if you wanted to take everything. And it still has such a low footprint. So if you're in the market for a Switch 2 case, this really is a neat one. Now let's get back to the video. Pentiment is the game on this list that I predict the fewest amount of people will try. But I also think a lot of the people that give this game a chance will end up liking it more than any other game they've played in the past year. The reason I think a lot of people won't give it a shot is because it does involve a lot of reading. It is almost like a visual novel, but it plays more like a point-and-click adventure type game, which again is a genre that's not super popular. But it's made by the team that made Fallout New Vegas and The Outer Worlds. It's made by Obsidian, so it is very high quality. And the game itself is so rich and compelling. And what's also interesting about it is the story is fictional. It's a murder mystery, but it takes place in the 1500s. And it has a lot of accurate historical information in the game. So it's also kind of educational. Again, not typically what you're looking for in video games, but this game works really well. I just happened to pick it up and start playing it. And about 40 minutes into the game, I was like, okay, this is what I thought. A lot of reading. This is kind of a slog. You know, I can see the potential here. I see why it got some high ratings, but, you know, probably not what I'm going to talk about. But then I kept playing. And right when I got around the 1 hour mark, I started to get very into it. It kind of got it hooks in me, and I just couldn't put it down. And that's what I would say to anyone trying to pick up this game is just give it, just give it an hour of your time. It goes on sale on the eShop a lot. If you don't like it, fine. It's also really great as a game if you have a lot of stuff going on during the week. You got work, you got school, whatever. This is a great one to play like right before bed. Just play a little bit of the story. It's kind of like reading a book. Sometimes when I go to bed, I'm too tired to actually play a video game, but I don't want to just listen to videos on YouTube. I kind of want to play something, but I need something that's less intense. This is the perfect game for that. And feel free to check out some other reviews of this game as well, because it really is highly regarded for very good reason. I can't recommend it enough. Astral Chain is probably the big AAA game on this list that I would have to recommend. And out of all the AAA games I could have chosen, I chose this for many reasons. If you haven't played this yet, this should absolutely be one of the first games you play on your Switch 2. While everyone else is out there playing Cyberpunk, whatever, this is one of the few AAA games you can play on your Switch 2 that's actually Nintendo Switch exclusives that you cannot play anywhere else. And this game actually is upgraded for the Switch 2. There's no official patch, but on the Switch 1, the game already ran very well. But there were some dips here and there. On the Switch 2 version, you're getting a stable 30 that will never ever drop, and there's also a lot more sharpness to the visuals. So it looks better, it plays a little better, and this game is just a blast. It's non-stop action where you play as a police officer who gains control of a robot that is chained to them to help fight in the action style combat. So it kind of feels like you're Resident Evil / RoboCop, except you're fighting aliens on Earth. And what's really nice about this game is it's level based. A lot of games out there, if you're trying to get through and play multiple games, the big open worlds that feel empty are really oversaturated. So sometimes I really like a straightforward level-based game where I know if I spend a couple hours on this, I'm actually going to make some solid progress and not end up just exploring nothingness. The twist of having that robot who is chained to you participate in the combat is such a refreshing take. It makes the combat system where sometimes in video games you'll get a cutscene where the character does all this crazy stuff that it's so hard to replicate in actual gameplay, where in this game it's so easy to do that in actual gameplay. You're doing all the cool stuff on your own, and it feels so fluid and so smooth. So if you're looking for that AAA-like experience, pick up Astral Chain. This game is the ultimate don't judge a book by its cover. I'm serious. Don't skip this game if you hate Minecraft, because guess what? I also hate Minecraft. Don't flame me in the comments. Dragon Quest Builders 2 is so much more like a Zelda game with Animal Crossing elements built into it than it is like Minecraft. So yes, there is building. Obviously, that style looks so much like Minecraft. There's great inspiration taken from it. But while I may not, unfortunately, be a fan of Minecraft, this is my favorite Switch game ever made. You do not need to play the first Dragon Quest Builders in order to appreciate this game, and if you're on the fence about it, I would not try the first one because it might turn you off from playing this one. This one is a lot more refined. It's funny, I think that this game does a lot of stuff that Breath of the Wild and Animal Crossing New Horizons, it was stuff that people was asking for, that they could have done a lot better, and this game had all of that, and they did it better than both of those games did. And it was very interesting to see Tears of the Kingdom, if you played this game, took so many of their improvements directly from this. But obviously, even that, the building was a huge part of Tears of the Kingdom. They got it from this. Now, if you weren't a fan of the building in Tears of the Kingdom, it is nothing like that in this game. The building is required in this game. You don't have to do a ton of it, but just exploring these massive lands that you get put into, hunting different monsters, starting villages on the different islands and recruiting more characters to join them. There's so many things to do. But when it actually comes to the building and building houses and different facilities, it feels a lot more like Being able to build things in Animal Crossing, but instead of just being able to choose designs or place items certain places, you get to make them exactly how you want, have the layout be perfectly how you want. And that is addicting. Also, everything in this game is story driven. You have a purpose for everything you're doing, which is very unlike the recent Zeldas and also Animal Crossing, where there's literally almost no story whatsoever. And having a motivation, feeling rewarded for everything you're doing, really enhances the experience. Luckily, this game does have a demo, so please, I implore everyone, try the demo to my favorite game of all time and let me know in the comments what you end up thinking about it. But if you liked Fantasy Life I basically consider that a spiritual successor to Dragon Quest Builders 2, the unofficial Dragon Quest Builders 3. So if that's the type of game that you like, definitely pick up Dragon Quest. And all of that stuff with the building mechanics that I haven't been able to get from any other game is what truly separates this apart from those other games that I also love and makes this the most special game that I ever got to play on my Switch. If nothing has jumped out at you so far, you should definitely pick up Vampire Survivors. This is your sign. And there's two reasons for that. One is the game is just stupid fun. You're going to have a great time playing this. And it's going to be fun for you no matter what your skill level is. The second reason you should pick this up is it's only $5. This is a roguelike game with that classic 8-bit art style where you go around the map and you kill enemies, but you also can pick up random power-ups and skills that complement each other in nice ways. And as you progress through each run, the amount of enemies and the toughness of the enemies keeps getting higher and higher, but so do the abilities and skills that you gain. And if you're lucky, you can be on a run where you're nearly invincible and it's a ton of fun just blasting your way through. Or you might get a little unlucky and your run might end early. But knowing that you could get overpowered so easily just encourages you to start again. And before you know it, a few hours have gone by. I honestly don't have too much to say about this game just because it is so fun and so cheap. I feel like a lot of people should just download this, try it out, and they'll know what I'm saying. Again, I want to hear anyone that's played any of these games, let me know in the comments, and let me know which is your favorite. My last recommendation is going to be The Plucky Squire. And this game's an interesting one because it had all the potential in the world, but it had some flaws with the actual game itself, and it also had flaws running on the Switch 1. However, they fixed the flaws with the actual game itself by introducing an update called Streamlined Mode, where instead of holding your hand so much in the tutorial, it lets you actually play the game, which changed the experience so much for the better. In addition to that, it just runs a lot better on Switch 2 than it did Switch 1. This is another short game, about 8 to 10 hours to beat, but it is so unique. And it's that uniqueness and variety why I'm recommending it to you. I do need to be honest with you, in terms of sheer fun, it's probably my least favorite on the list, but in terms of what it does, I still think it's a great experience. The most unique thing about this game is it flips back and forth between 2D and 3D. Most of the game is played in the 2D storybook environment. However, sometimes, in order to progress through the story, you can jump out of the storybook that you're painted in and go around in the real world of the kid's room who has your book. So it's kind of like playing in a real-life Toy Story, and it's also like playing a 2D Zelda game. But what's really fun is they put other genres in there too. There's a shoot 'em up segment, there is a turn-based segment, and the fact that there's something always new makes the game really fun, but it is also one of the weaknesses, because that is why there were so many tutorials, because it tries to do so many things that it often feels like it's stopping you when you want to just keep playing. Again, the streamlined experience fixes a lot of that though, and it's why I'm putting it on the list. If you've never played this game and the variety and the art style is jumping out to you, it's a short one that I bet will definitely make you smile. If you enjoyed this video and you want to hear me talk about one bonus game, which was Fantasy Life I, that was briefly mentioned in this video, you can watch the video that's going to pop up at the end of this one. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and if this video hits 1,000 likes, I'll make another video of recommendations. Thanks for watching, you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.